What's going on, guys? First and foremost, I want to say thank you to MAXPEEDINGRODS for sponsoring me a set of coilovers for the Project CRX build. I'm excited to get these onto the CRX and try them out. Let's get this box opened up and take a look at the coilovers today. Alright, so they come well packaged. Doesn't look like there's any sort of damage that's going to happen during shipping. Seems sturdy, seem well built. And this is the front one. The front have an 8K spring rate, which is, it's relatively stiff, but it's not too stiff. I still think it should be a really comfortable ride, especially when you can change the adjustability of the stiffness of the absorber itself. Let's take a look at one of the rear ones. And these also built just like the front. Of course, you have the fork style design in the back. And these are a 5K spring rate. Now looking at the set, it's nice. They obviously have the brackets for the brake lines. Some coilovers, such as some of the Tiens and Function Forms, those don't even have this. So I think it's a nice feature, and you can remove it if you desire. Has a little Allen head bolt with a nut on the end, so you could take that off and slide it off if that's something you prefer to do. It comes with the coilover keys, also a little tool, the Allen wrench for those if you want to use that, I believe. I don't see what else it would be used for on here. And then I was looking at these sleeves, and my initial impression is that these are for right here. So that way, if you end up using this on an EF, or say for instance you go to the EK and you have the larger, not even just the EK, like the DC as well, and you have the larger fork style, you can slide that on there and then use the bigger fork instead of just the EF fork. And here I have a set of EF specific forks. So we're going to see if this fits. This actually fits on there perfectly fine, and when you tighten it, it'll remove all slack. So on the CRX, I have a set of True Heart shocks that are actually from like an EK or a DC. I don't know exactly what, because see how the fork is fatter and different? It even has a different stamping on it. The AL and the EF one has HL. You can just see from the left arm how much different in sizing it was. Once I pull it off right now, I will show you the difference in diameter. If you need help changing out your suspension, click this video in the upper corner. Changed out some coilovers on my 91 Civic Si a couple years back, and I have a full instructional on that. And here's a look at those True Hearts and the fork that was on the CRX. Another reason I don't think these are EF specific, 8891 Civic and CRX specific, is because the car sat really high, even though these are considered a lowering spring. So I don't know, you can't really, yeah, you could probably see it a little bit. This diameter of this fork looks bigger, and with this in there, you see how much room there is? There's a lot. So obviously these are EF specific shocks, or at least EF specific cups. I don't know if they use the same shock absorber and spring for just the top piece and just add a different cup. So we'll try that sleeve now. Obviously it's too big for the EF fork. Put on here. Perfect. You just gotta squeeze it a little bit. That'll slide in. And then that would allow you to use a different set of forks if you need to. So this is kind of neat. I'm going to keep this because you never know when I may or may not be able to use it. But I think it's a good piece to have in case I can't find any EF forks and I do need to use a different set of shocks with it. So I'm going to get these fronts thrown on really quick using the EF forks. I'm going to keep those set aside. No need to use those. I might as well get back to the original forks that come on these cars. And once you have them installed, with the supplied coilover keys, you can now raise or lower them. Make sure the lower perch is loosened. I had the coilovers all the way down as far as it could go, and then I raised it back about one full turn. That way I can adjust all of them when I get it on the ground. But with these, you just slide it in there, and then for instance, like I want to raise it up and spin to the right, and that spins the entire shock assembly, and then it spins it up in the cup to raise it, and you can do the opposite to lower those. So I'm gonna get these other 3 set on. I'm gonna leave all of the perches loose, that way I can raise and adjust it. What I like to do, once I get them on, I would take it for a drive around the block, just shake the car back and forth, try to get it to settle as much as possible, and then come back, park it on a level surface, such as back in here in the garage again, and then I'll kind of measure each one in relation to the tire and fender, then go ahead and measure. I'll go ahead and adjust all 4 accordingly. And here's a look at the brake line bracket. These are actually some aftermarket brake lines, but it still has the one mount there. The OEM one has a second one here, which you could use if you're still using the original brake lines. And a note for the rear, you're going to need a nut of some sort. These don't have a supplied welded on nut already to the base of the fork. It didn't occur to me earlier, but that little Allen wrench was for setting the adjustment settings on the shock absorbers themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and set them all to full stiff, and then I'm going to take it for a small spin. Then I'm going to go ahead and set the ride height. So after leaving these about 5 spins from the very top, it's tucking tire a little bit, so a little bit lower than I want. The front is actually ideal. That one has about a finger gap in there, so I'm going to take it for a spin, see if it settles a little bit. And then if these are kind of similar in height, the fronts, I will just come back and raise the rear a little bit. So I would like to have a nice equal ride height on both front and rear. And after that drive, it kind of stayed the same. I looked at both sides, so I'm going to have to raise the back a little bit more. The front, I might just do a couple spins just to lift it up. But the rear definitely, it's tucking tire back here and it's a little bumpy because it's so low. I went ahead and reset the ride height to where I like it. It's about a finger gap in the front and rear. And I just got back from the alignment shop. We're running a negative 2.5 camber, front and rear, and toe is set to factory specs. Car rides really straight now. Feels really, really good after getting that rear end off of the top of the tire. It feels so much nicer now. So I'm going to take it for a couple spins, get a little bit of cruising footage in it. Let's see how it feels. Here I'm softening all of them up. I have it all the way stiff, which is 24 clicks. So I'm going back 18. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm gonna ride it home like that and just see how it feels for the rest of the ride. Alright guys, and there it is after that first drive. I have to say I am impressed. I like the way they feel. When you talk about budget and you talk about a full-bodied coilover, they are well within, I think, most people's range in terms of price. They feel really good. They're a little stiff at full stiff, but that should be expected. If you want to run it a little hard with those 8 and 5K spring rates, it's solid. It's a little bumpy in some areas. You may be able to tell in the video from the amount of head movement I have in certain areas. But other than that, it feels really, really solid. When I turned them down, went to not full soft, but I went about 18 clicks, and there's 24 in each direction. At 18, it feels considerably different. You can definitely tell it's a lot softer, the rebound on the coils, and it's much more comfortable. If I go all the way to full soft, I'm sure it'll feel even better if you want to daily drive it. So that's probably what I would suggest, maybe like on the 22nd or the 23rd setting of being full soft. But I'm going to leave this car on full stiff just because we don't drive it daily. It's going to sit in the backyard until we take it to the track. I may take it out and cruise it every now and then, just put a little bit of miles on it, make sure everything's running okay. And as I noticed right now, you may have seen in the video, if you're watching closely, under 3,000 RPMs, the alternator light would turn on, and once I got over 3,000 RPMs, it would turn off. So I probably need to just change the alternator. Something I'll do here shortly as well, get that taken care of. But other than that, I think we're set, guys. We're going to take it out to the track. We got the event coming up here. So I'm going to get some footage of me driving out the track a couple times. Hopefully we don't encounter any issues. And I'll talk to you after the video. We'll go over the coilovers and get you my opinion on how it feels for the track days and just overall. Alright guys, we're going to get on track now and see how it feels. Wish us some luck, and let's hope we don't have any issues with it. Alright guys, we're heading out. Let's see how this car feels. What are you gonna fix? The stool wheel is in my way, my dead pedal. And I keep hitting it. That should be okay. Ow. Every time I put my foot there, it's in the way, and I can't. When you hit that, what does it do?
Kevin, spin out.
Man, that felt good.
Not good, I like it. Want me to turn it off?
Not yet. Alright guys, and that wraps it up for today. Did a handful of practice laps. My dad took it out for a lot more than I did. I did those 2 sessions. He just finished the time attack as well, and we haven't had any issues with the car. The check engine light was kicking on for the knock sensor. I think that's because it needs a shielded wire. The car still was running fine, still hits VTEC, it didn't seem to affect it at all. And we haven't had any issues over the entire course of the day, and we've now finished. We swapped our tires out. We're just waiting for them to finish up the rest of the time attack with the Class B and C cars. We always get over here a little early. That way we're not stuck here super late trying to get out of here. But what'd you think, Dad? How'd you like it?
It was a lot of fun.
Was it?
Great fun.
Excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I feel like these coilovers, for using them at the track, they did really well. We have it set to full stiff, but I think this is a perfect setup for someone that wants to keep it on a daily driver and maybe do some occasional maybe autocross days or occasional track days. I think they might be a little too soft to be competitive, and maybe the dampers aren't as strong as some others, but definitely held up really well. Once I get back to the house, we're gonna do some cleaning of the car. I want to pull off the wheels and tires and take a look at the coilovers just to see if anything is leaking, make sure they've held up to this abuse. And our round trip from our house to the track, it's about 150 miles round trip, so that we also put them through that kind of abuse. And I think right now, let me see how many miles we have on there. So since I've installed them, we've driven this 202 miles, and that includes the trip to the track. So I've held up significantly well so far, and the rest is to be foreseen once we get it taken, take the wheels off. And after getting home, we got the wheels off. I was inspecting all the coilovers. I just wanted to see if there was potentially any signs of leaking. All of them looked perfectly fine, and they were able to handle the kind of abuse I just put it through in the last couple of days. We have a little over 280 miles on the setup. I will revisit this video maybe after the last event in November. That way we have maybe 3 more events for sure that we're going to, possibly a 4th, because we have an event called Honda Day. It all depends on my dad's schedule. So after that time frame, I will revisit the comments. I will leave a comment and updated information about this particular set of coilovers, how they're feeling, if there's any signs of leaking from the dampers themselves. Nothing else should be, can't imagine we're gonna have any problems with the build of all the other pieces, but it'll be nice to see. That way I can update you guys. I will maybe even link it as one of the community posts so we can kind of go revisit it. But I think it's an excellent setup for someone looking for a budget set of coilovers, and I'm always kind of on a budget and trying to find great prices for product that actually works well. So it was nice and cool. It was cool being able to try this set of coilovers out and actually put them through the test, not just throwing them on the car, driving around the street and saying, oh, they feel great, whatever. Really, really good way of testing them out at the track, and I hope you guys enjoyed the footage. And make sure you pay their website a visit. They have some really good prices. They have a set of these that are non-adjustable if you want something a little more tame just for a daily driver. They have a variety of other products, so go ahead and give them a follow. You can head over to their website. I will link it in the description below, and you can take a look at the coilovers there as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and once again, thanks MAXPEEDINGRODS for sponsoring this video with the coilover setup. We'll see you next time.